How you guys doing tonight? Vibra, una vibra que siento dentro de mí, como el viento, una idea me cambia y se queda. Es como magia dentro, una magia, la magia dentro. Ellos dicen que rica, rica, como a mí me gusta, así como a mí me gusta torta de helado. Solo hay una vida, un tipo de milagro, sin mirar el tiempo. Lo que no sabes puede salvarte de adentro. Cuando me miro en el espejo, viviéndome el cuento, es como magia dentro, una magia, la magia dentro. Es como magia dentro, una magia, la magia dentro. Seda, seda, una manera, seda, seda, como me queda. Yo sé que se sabe, así hacemos. Cuando me muevo así, eso me gusta así. Yo sé que se sabe, así hacemos. Cuando me muevo así, es como magia dentro, una magia, la magia dentro. Es como magia dentro. La magia dentro. Seda, seda, una manera, seda, seda, como me queda. Muchas gracias. Nos vemos pronto.
Some exciting news about the CBS Weekend News. Adriana Diaz and Jerika Duncan are taking over as Weekend News anchors.
I'm waving my pom-poms for Jerika and Adriana. It's great news for all of us.
Tonight, America reacts to a new reality. Abortion bans take hold in states across the country.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on this Sunday. We begin tonight with new developments from that January 6th committee.
This is proof of the danger of this journey. A man has fallen from a truck. He landed here. You can still see his blood on the street.
Buffalo will never be the same. You think he would have tried to kill you?
I don't know, because obviously he don't like black people.
What do you think of the South China Sea situation? 你对南海的问题有什么看法?
Are you hopeful?
Yes, I am. He was like the martyr for change.
$25,000, is it enough for reparations?
It's a start, but I don't think it's enough.
Why did you file that criminal complaint?
It was the right thing to do. The governor needs to be held accountable.
This COVID unit used to be limited to this one hallway. Now they've had to expand to 3 hallways because of this surge.
What's that song? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah!
I'm Adriana Diaz in Chicago. Good night.
I'm Jerika Duncan in New York. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great night.
Gracias. Good evening, saludos y bienvenidos a todos. My name is Adriana Diaz, and I am, as you saw, a CBS News anchor and correspondent based in Chicago. Thank you so much. I honestly can't believe that this is what I do myself, so I appreciate that. We anchor our Saturday national evening news program, The Weekend News from Chicago. As you can tell, I am off tonight. But please do watch Saturday, 6:30 or 5:30 p.m., depending on your time zone. Every viewer counts. I cannot tell you what an honor it is for me to be with you guys this evening. People often overuse that expression. I'm truly honored, but it really doesn't feel like that long ago that I was an entry-level journalist dreaming of telling stories. And it's also quite special to me that I am an Afro-Latina hosting this NAHJ gala. Where are my Dominicanos? We were taking photos earlier. There we are. Hey! So my first NAHJ conference was in Denver in 2010. I also went to Anaheim, San Antonio, twice, and I would sit in the front row of every workshop in case it helped me learn just a little bit more from those speakers, as though through osmosis. And I have the incredible privilege to now help lead a national broadcast and tell stories for CBS Network. And that is because of the skills that I learned at NAHJ, and only because I had Latinas in my newsroom. Latinas, plural. Fellow Dominicana Ingrid Cyprian Matthews and the legend, Ana Real. They mentored me and guided me into opportunities where they knew I would grow. They, like many of you in this room right now, have propped open the door for other budding journalists that you've met at conferences like this one. It makes a difference. I'm so proud when I look at the diversity of my colleagues, both on and off camera at CBS News. Ed O'Keefe, Lilia Luciano, who is here tonight, who's done incredible work in Uvalde, Manuel Bojorquez, and right now at the NABJ Gala, Jericka Duncan and Errol Barnett are hosting. So it's just something we are all so proud of. And that is expanding in newsrooms across the country because of the work that goes on here. So my voice is actually starting to go a little bit, probably for the same reasons your voices are all going for a little bit, because it has been so great to see each other in person this year, and boy, can we talk. So I'd like to thank the organizers of this year's NABJ, NAHJ for pulling this incredible feat off, and to our host, the city of Las Vegas, which is more than 30% Latino. Many of the employees of this hotel are Latino. They have taken such good care of us, haven't they? So we want to recognize the servers in the room and the people, here at this conference center who have welcomed us with open arms and helped everything move smoothly. And with that, let us begin our program. I know you know who's here tonight. Lilia. I would like to introduce our first guest, who you may recognize from films such as Y Tu Mamá También, and his role as Cassian Andor in Rogue One. But his career in film and TV goes beyond his acting skills. He is also a producer and director. He directed the film Cesar Chavez, which was distributed by Pantaleon Films, the first major Latino Hollywood studio, and they are bringing important Mexican films to the United States. He's also a co-founder of Ambulante, an organization bringing the power of documentary films to all parts of Mexico as a tool for social and cultural transformation. His production company with Gael García Bernal, La Corriente del Golfo, will soon begin production in Mexico on a new Hulu series, La Máquina, in which Diego will star alongside Gael. I have got to see that. And of course, you can look forward to seeing him reprise his iconic Star Wars role in the upcoming Disney Plus series Andor, being released on September 21st. Everyone, please welcome executive producer and star of Star Wars Andor, Diego Luna.
Hey. Good night. Hello, everyone. Are those phones? My God, how many cameras? It's so nice to be here. I want to thank the Association of Hispanic Journalists for inviting me here and being in this room with so many interesting voices and people needed for the community. I guess if there's a room in Las Vegas where you can speak Spanish, is this one, no? Así que, if you don't speak Spanish and you're sitting here in a table, you might find someone there next to you that actually speaks really good Spanish and English, because we tend to have to do that here. So I'm going to switch to Spanish porque pues, me siento más cómodo, la verdad. Y de verdad quiero darles las gracias por invitarme a hablar esta noche en la gala del Salón de la Fama. Es un honor estar rodeado de periodistas que luchan por contar esas historias importantes y necesarias que no pueden esperar. La libertad no se puede vivir sin acceso a la información y ustedes son la ruta para que los ciudadanos podamos ser libres. Así que de verdad festejo y agradezco y sobre todo respeto mucho su profesión. Sí, de verdad. Indispensable. Y además sé que en este cuarto está una cantidad del talento que tiene este país en términos de punto de vista, de claridad, de libertad. Les agradezco muchísimo y sigan contando nuestras historias porque es un momento importantísimo para que nuestras historias se conozcan, para que nuestras historias viajen, para que sepamos que no estamos solos y solas en este viaje. Bueno, yo estoy aquí para mostrarles el nuevo tráiler de Andor. Andor es una serie que es nuestra serie, y le digo así porque llevo 4 años trabajando en ella, que se estrena por Disney Plus el 21 de septiembre. Sí, ya viene. Les cuento brevemente que Andor arranca 5 años antes de los eventos de Rogue One. En ella seguimos a Cassian Andor en un viaje por descubrir la diferencia que puede hacer en su comunidad, como la diferencia que ustedes hacen en su comunidad, luchando por las cosas en las que él cree. Vamos a conocer la lucha y la historia detrás del personaje que me tocó representar en Rogue One y que por suerte regresa, a pesar de que tuvo ese final trágico. Encontramos la forma de regresar. La serie cuenta además con la participación de Adria Arjona y bueno, un reparto espectacular, pero digo el nombre de Adria porque Adria es de nuestra comunidad y está en esta serie con un papel muy importante, ya la verán. La historia está llena de peligro, de engaño, intriga. Vamos a ver a Cassian embarcarse en el camino que está destinado a convertirlo en un héroe de la rebelión. Y bueno, es un honor para mí formar parte de este universo de Star Wars, frente a la cámara y detrás de ella como productor ejecutivo. Cada vez somos más los latinos que trabajamos en el universo de Star Wars. No solo somos Adria y yo. Detrás de cámaras, por ejemplo, en nuestra serie hay fotógrafos, hay maquillistas, hay diseñadores, hay técnicos y técnicas. Está lleno de latinos y latinas que están ahí por su trabajo, además, no por una cuestión de cuota, sino por una cuestión de talento, de que tienen una voz y tienen y merecen un lugar en nuestra industria. Espero que nos ayuden a pasar la voz. Ustedes que tienen acceso a los micrófonos, ustedes pueden hacer que nuestra comunidad se entere de que esta serie va a estar lista, que va a estar en Disney Plus a partir del 21 de septiembre, lo repito, y que depende ya de ellos verla. Y les voy a decir por qué es importante, porque yo creo en una cosa, y con esto termino, les prometo que ya voy a terminar. Todos ustedes saben, ponen estos teleprompters que para que no se den cuenta, pero pues si todos ustedes lo saben usar, saben que esos espejitos no están ahí para que yo me vea, ¿no? Saben que son y el teleprompter hace así mientras yo estoy platicando con ustedes. Ya me voy a callar, lo prometo. Pero Es que creo en una cosa, y por eso les cuento que estoy yo, que está Adria en este proyecto, que hay, les digo, gente de Brasil, Argentina, México, Colombia, en nuestro proyecto. Y se los cuento ¿por qué? Porque creo que hoy la industria está reaccionando al mensaje que las audiencias están mandando. Hoy, si compramos un boleto en el cine, si le damos clic a una serie, estamos mandando un mensaje. Si no compramos un boleto y si no le damos clic, también mandamos un mensaje. La industria está escuchando. Entonces, nos corresponde a las audiencias mandar el mensaje de qué queremos ver en las pantallas y cuánto nos queremos ver representados en esas pantallas. Tenemos un poder enorme, nosotros como público. Como decía ¿no? César Chávez, vamos a hablar con el consumidor, porque ahí está el poder. Bueno, nosotros somos consumidores, nosotros somos público. Mandemos el mensaje correcto a la industria para que nuestras historias se vean ahí. Eso es lo último que quería decir. Y bueno, no es cierto, es cierto. Bueno, es lo penúltimo que quería decir, quiero decir. Now I'm going to leave you with the trailer of the show. I'm switching to English. To finish, I'm going to leave you with the trailer of the show. Remember, it's out the 21st, and we are really proud of what we made. It's 12 episodes, and I hope you watch it, enjoy it, and share it with your friends and family. Esto es Andor.
To steal from the Empire? To just walk in like you belong? They're so proud of themselves. So fat and satisfied. They can't imagine that someone like me would ever get inside their house.
Cassian Andor. The Empire is choking us so slowly. We're starting not to notice. What I'm asking is this. Wouldn't you rather give it all to something real? I need all the heroes I can get.
For the greater good.
Call it what you will.
Let's call it war.
There's fermenting out there, son. Pockets of fermenting. You're in my net. Are you a fish? Or are you a thief?
You're slipping.
I'm not slipping. I've just been hiding for too long.
As long as everyone thinks I'm an irritation, there's a good chance they'll miss what I'm really doing.
What are you really doing?
This is what revolution looks like.
I'm tired of losing.
That looked good. I just wanted to thank Diego one more time for setting such a wonderful tone for this evening. Mil gracias, Diego. We can give him another clap. Let's give him another round of applause for his beautiful speech. Next, I would like to invite our next presenter to the stage, Valeria Hernandez, Managing Editor at Palabra by NAHJ. She will be, yes, please, let's give Valeria a round of applause and Palabra for the incredible work that they do. She will be introducing our very first award. Valeria.
Buenas noches a todos los que están ahí, gente de corazón. I am so excited to be here tonight. I'm going off script, speaking from the heart, because I'm going to introduce the award winner of the Se Puede Award. And frankly, this is I'm going to say it, a chingona, okay? This is a journalist that has been working for 30 years. She's been among the first Latinas in a newsroom. She's an author. She's the founder of the Futuro Media Group, which is an independent nonprofit in New York, in Harlem, that has been focusing on telling stories from the perspectives of communities of color. This was her dream a long time ago, and she made it happen. She created this space, and I believe from the bottom of my heart that in doing so, she has paved the way for a lot of us here. And she has told us that sí se puede. So I invite you to watch a video from this chingona if you turn to the screens.
There's a super tall Texan immigration agent in the airport where my mom was giving over the green cards that we had. He looks at everybody looks at all the green cards. He said, "Ma'am, I have to say, everything is fine with your papers. Everything is just fine, and you're all going to be able to come on in except for the baby." That was me.
It was Dr. Martin Luther King who made me feel for the first time that I could, in fact, be an American. He was my first role model. When you realize that it's not just about you, and it's not just about the obstacle that you're facing, and you realize that you have a role to play, then the obstacles become less imposing.
It helped me to understand this core idea of taking control of our own narrative and taking control of our own power and taking control of our own voice.
One of the coolest kudos I've ever gotten from a fellow journalist who said to me, "Wow, Maria, I think you're one of the queens of never giving up." And I was like, I like that. Yeah, queen of never giving up.
The one and only Maria Hinojosa.
No, seriously, y'all are standing up? I haven't said anything. Híjole. So if you know me, you know that I have to leave right now. I literally they're like, "You have 2 minutes." I'm like, "Es que yo me voy because I have to catch a flight right now." So I'm like, oh, it's all coming together. So thank you for that standing ovation. And thank you for this extraordinary award. I mean, did I really just come on stage after Diego Luna? O sea, ¿cómo es? Okay. So really quickly, yeah, it's an extraordinary honor to receive this. And as I was thinking about Si Se Puede and this award and this induction, I was thinking about, the first Latino I saw on television in this country, Cesar Chavez, and of course, Dolores Huerta, who is my role model forever. And Dolores was the one who created Si Se Puede. Entonces, we understand that she too is a queen of never giving up. Now, understand, when I created Futuro, fue mi idea, but I did not do it alone. I was terrified, scared. But you know what we do is scary all the time. So don't be afraid to take this leap as Latino and Latina and Latinx journalists, because it's our responsibility to do so. Also, I don't do it alone. I have colleagues here tonight, Hector and Julio from Futuro Media, Latino Rebels, we love you, and to everybody who is loving us on In the Thick on this stage. So finally, I've said this before. If we are here in this conference, we have privilege. We may all be having tough times, financial problems, emotional, todo eso de verdad, and we have family members who are confronting all kinds of stuff. But we have privilege, and therefore we have responsibility, and that's why our roots as journalists of conscience tie back to Frederick Douglass. That's what keeps us grounded. That, and this award being from my family. The first ever award I got in my career was from the NAHJ. Entonces, recibir esto es como recibir un abrazo y afirmación de mi familia. And guess what? Tonight, I actually have mi familia in the office. I'm going to cry because I'm dedicating this award to my son, who is with me, Raúl Ariel Jesús de Todos los Santos Pérez Hinojosa, because without him, I would never be on this stage. I'd still be lost in the casino, going around and around and around in circles. Thank you so much, Raúl Ariel. Te quiero, and have a great time. And I'm going to make my plane tonight, everybody. I'll see you on MSNBC tomorrow night. Don't forget. Love you. Gracias. Love you, love you, love you.
Well, first of all, congratulations, Maria. I have the pleasure of announcing the Dale Award to Jean Guerrero for the Los Angeles Times. She's the author of Hate Monger, Stephen Miller, Donald Trump, and the White Nationalist Agenda. Her first book, Crux, a cross-border memoir, and won a PEN Literary Award and was named one of the NPR's best books of 2019. I will be accepting Jean's award as she cannot be with us tonight in person, but please turn your attention to the screen for highlights from her career.
As somebody who grew up on the border, crossing back and forth, this place truly means a lot to me. I've always been drawn to cross-border issues because of the fact that I grew up going back and forth to Tijuana with my dad, my abuelita who's here. My dad would take us to the beach down there. I just grew up with that cross-border existence. When I was in high school, I stumbled across The Devil's Highway, a book by Luis Alberto Urrea about a group of Mexican men who die trying to cross the militarized border. And that book, it made me realize for the first time how beautiful my native language is and that it can be made into art. It made me want to be a journalist in Mexico, and that's kind of what set me off on my path. My father was always, from the time that I was a very small child, always encouraging me to push past the boundaries of the known, the safe, the familiar. And so when he became absent from my life, I sort of tried to recapture him by conjuring him in myself. And eventually that led me to Mexico, which was extremely appealing to me because of the opportunities that I felt it presented for covering things like human rights violations.
Enormous congratulations to our first two winners of the night. Next, you know and love our upcoming speaker, whose service to NAHJ will always be cherished. Please welcome your NAHJ National President, Nora Lopez.
Thank you. Buenas noches. Each year of my presidency, I have the pleasure of recognizing the excellence of one media professional through the NAHJ President's Award. This year, I selected a person whom I have watched advocate for the Latinx community for decades. His pioneering work has been an inspiration to me and countless others, including journalists. Tonight, it is an honor to present the President's Award to John Quiñones. John's 35-year career in media embodies NAHJ's mission. As an ABC correspondent, he spent more than a decade reporting throughout Latin America, including in Panama City during the U.S. invasion in 1989. A native of San Antonio, woohoo, San Antonio, and former migrant worker, John understands the communities he reports on. I have crossed paths with him many times throughout our careers, and I've witnessed his unconditional support for the Latino Hispano community and his unending commitment to improving representation in newsrooms. Throughout his career, John has highlighted diverse voices and prioritized stories that would otherwise go untold. He has broadened his work as an author and motivational speaker and is always offering his insights and expertise to the next generation of journalists. Over the years, I have called on John to speak at this event or that, and this is what I love most about John. He has never told me no. Nunca. No matter how big or small the event, John is always willing to share his story because he knows how important it is to be a role model for young, aspiring brown kids, to let them know that if he can do it, so can they. Mira, John is no stranger to receiving awards. He's won 7 Emmys and multiple Lifetime Achievement Awards, but today I am proud to honor him for his commitment to our community, the excellence he embodies, and the inspiration he cultivates in all of us. Please turn your attention to the screen for a short video on John.
Please welcome ABC News correspondent and host of What Would You Do, John Quiñones.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I was told many times that I'd never make it in radio or television, that it wasn't my time, that perhaps I had too heavy an accent, or perhaps, I was too dark-skinned. They judged me by the color of my skin and the accent in my voice. There were very few people who were Latino on television, so I wanted to be a pioneer. I wanted to be the one who broke through because I knew that we had stories to tell and that they would prove enlightening. I wanted to get into television and no one would hire me. I applied to 81 stations and it was tough, and I know that some of that was the fact that everyone had their one Hispanic reporter and maybe they thought that was enough. Now I look around and we have a good number of Latinos, especially at ABC. Now I'm considered the veteran, senior correspondent. I tell them I'm the senior correspondent. I just want to be remembered as the guy who told stories that needed to be told, who was brave enough to go into places where perhaps other people didn't want to look, to shine a light on the darkest corners of the world where they were being ignored by other journalists.
John, te agradecemos todo lo que haces por nuestra comunidad.
Wow. Thank you. What an honor this is. Thank you, the outgoing president, and my good friend, a fellow Tejana, Nora Lopez, a fellow San Antonian, as she mentioned. I also want to thank all my friends, my great journalism friends who are here with us tonight, and my son Nico Quiñones is here, a brand new member of NAHJ, and a very special thanks to Kim Godwin, the president of ABC News, who's with us tonight. Kim is the very first African-American woman to lead a news division ever in the U.S. Thank you, Kim, for your undying support. This is truly humbling. Award especially incredible to me because of what it represents, what it stands for. The National Association of Hispanic Journalists has been there for me throughout my career, for decades, through all the highs and the lows, my professional struggles, and as well as my successes. It's been there even when the organization was struggling to find its footing. We both have come a long way. As many of you know, I was born in the barrio on the west side of San Antonio. I couldn't speak Spanish when I went to the first grade. I remember the first day of school, I walked home at recess because I thought it was over. I asked my mother, Juanito, ¿qué pasó? And I said, se acabó, it's over. I like school, Mom. 2 hours and you're done? It's going to work out very nicely. My father was a janitor. My mom was a maid who cleaned houses on the rich part of town. On the wealthy part of town, Alamo Heights, they called it. One of my favorite uncles, Andres, was back then what they called a hobo. He would jump on freight trains with nothing more than the clothes he was wearing and some crackers and a chunk of cheese in his pocket, and he would ride the rails to wherever the trains would take him. And as a kid, I wanted so much to be like my tío Andres. I wanted to visit faraway places and come back with these fascinating stories. And I got the chance to do that for a little bit. When I was 13 years old, my father was laid off from work,
And the Quiñones family did what a lot of families in South Texas did back then. We became migrant farm workers. My father and my mother, me and my two sisters, nervously jumped on the back of these trucks with strangers, and we journeyed 1,700 miles from San Antonio to Northport, Michigan, the cherry capital of the world, where we harvested cherries. And I'll never forget teetering on the top of these ladders with a bucket strapped around my neck, overlooking orchards and orchards of cherry trees. And they paid us 75 cents for every bucket of cherries we picked. And it would take me 2 hours to fill that darn bucket for 75 cents. And after we spent 6 weeks there in Michigan, we did what all migrant farm workers do. We followed the crops, right? We went down to Ohio, got back on those trucks, went to a town called Swanton, Ohio, where we picked tomatoes for 35 cents a bushel. And man, I was a champion tomato picker. I would do 100 bushels a day. And that's $35 back then, right? And my father would pick 130 bushels, and my sisters contributed to that, and my mother. And we learned the value of the family, as many of your families have learned. In times of adversity, pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps, right? But I'll never forget, being on my knees on the cold, hard ground at 6 in the morning with my father Bruno, and Bruno looking at me saying, Juanito, and there I was looking at a row of tomato plants that for a young 13-year-old boy's eyes seemed to go on for miles and miles. And he said to me, Mijo, do you want to do this kind of work for the rest of your life? Or do you want to get a college education? It was a no-brainer. I knew I didn't want to do that kind of back-breaking work for the rest of my life, but no one believed in me. When I came back to school in San Antonio and I would ask my teachers, how do I prepare for the ACTs? How do I take the SATs? How do I take advanced placement classes in math, biology, and English? Do you know what my own teachers and my own counselors would tell me? They would say, John, it's wonderful, Johnny, that you have this dream of someday being a television reporter. How sweet. But, we think you should try wood shop or metal shop or auto mechanics. And those people, my own teachers, my own counselors, did what people do on that TV show, What Would You Do? Every Friday night. They judged me by the color of my skin and the accent in my voice. But thank God for my mother, Maria. Man, she was the one who kept pushing and inspiring and motivating. Maria, my mother, would say, Mijo, it doesn't matter that you have to wear the same clothes to school every other day. At least we wash them, right? They're clean. She would say, Mijo, don't worry so much. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed of having to take bean and tortilla tacos for lunch when all the other kids are taking their fancy bologna and white bread. Now we know beans and tortillas have more protein, right? So we got the last laugh on that, But she would say, Mijo, no te preocupes, don't worry. What matters is what's in here in your brain and what's in here in your corazón, in your heart. She's the one who kept me pushing and moving. The great African-American poet, Maya Angelou, wrote that we all marvel at the beauty of a butterfly. We look at a butterfly and we just marvel at the gorgeous colors and the wingspan, right? But seldom do we consider all the changes that butterfly has to go through to attain that beauty. And man, I'm no butterfly, but we went through some changes. And tonight, I dedicate this award to my mother, Maria, who kept pushing and inspiring. And I know she's looking up from El Cielo, smiling down on me, and is incredibly proud. So thank you. Muchísimas gracias del corazón. Huh? Thank you. All right, bye-bye. I love this. Thank you. All right.
How inspiring is he? And Maria Hinojosa. I am just so moved by both of them. I've seen them both speak before, and every time it is a gift, because it fills us with the motivation that we need to keep doing what we're doing for people like his mother, Maria. Well, let's give them all a round of applause yet again. They have truly, truly charted their own paths where there were none, paving the way for future rebels in journalism. Now, please direct your attention to the screen for a short message from Toyota.
We are the strong, the tenacious and compassionate members of diverse communities. We don't let others define us. We remember our roots while bravely writing the script for our own future. We have an undeniable zest for life and a heart that beats with resounding determination. Whether it's supporting our Toyota team members, embracing the richness of their cultural diversity, or partnering with them to drive business decisions, or serving the community, collaborating with grassroots and national organizations. Together, we're improving access to opportunities, where members of every generation can thrive. We celebrate you. When we come together, we can create limitless possibilities for all. Vayamos juntos.
Thank you so much to Toyota. Next, I would like for you to join me in welcoming David Peña, our National Executive Director, who will lead us into our next segment.
Buenas noches, familia. How are we doing? It's a joy to gather with all of you today to recognize the incredible work and lives of our Hall of Fame inductees and award winners. I'm endlessly inspired by the hard work of our members, partner organizations, and their dedication to the mission and values that unites us. As Executive Director, I am committed to furthering our shared goals by expanding the number of Latinos in newsrooms and improving coverage of the Latino community. Our progress is marked by our ability to work together towards that vision. When we say we need more Latinos in news, we mean in all aspects of the industry, from early career journalists to veteran reporters and executives. We want more Latinos in front of the camera, behind the camera, in leadership positions, and in scholarship and fellowship programs. This will lead to fair and accurate portrayals of Latinos as subjects of the stories and a quantitative representation which reflects the demographic makeup of our nation. NAHJ strives to serve all our members at different stages in their lives and careers. For reporters doing the daily grind, we've built out resource lists and guides for covering current events. We've researched complex issues, worked with top Hispanic experts to develop best practices in covering sensitive and challenging stories. For veteran journalists, we are fiercely advocating for more representation in newsroom leadership. We have pressured media institutions to promote diverse voices and push award committees to account for newsroom demographics. I'm excited to have heard from freelancers who are members who use our tools and guidance as they navigate self-employment, and we will continue to support them. For you as members, stay tuned, as we as a national team will continue to inform, engage, and advocate for you through new programs and new initiatives. In closing, it's so important for all of us to gather annually to connect and converse, especially to celebrate the incredible work of our members and community. Congratulations to tonight's award winners and inductees. I'm looking forward to watching you and supporting you as you make history, break barriers, and continue to be a shining example to emerging journalists y nuestra comunidad. I am pleased to welcome Mana Jam, who you heard from earlier, back to the stage to play us another song. Mana Jam is a critically acclaimed R&B artist who just released her highly anticipated debut bilingual audience, Gardenia. Gracias y buenas noches.
Hola, hola. Thank you so much to the NAHJ for having me. It's such an honor to be here and all the amazing work that you do. I'm just thrilled to be included. So, ahora Bienvenidos a mi paraíso. ¿Quieres saber un secreto que nadie en el mundo sabe? Todo lo que quieres está aquí. Take my money, no lo necesito. Libres y solitos. El cielo y el amor son infinitos en mi paraíso. Abro mis ojos, los colores levantan y todo está claro. Entre mis manos, piérdete así. Take my money, no lo necesito. Libres y solitos. En la playa todos mis amigos, en mi paraíso. En mi paraíso. En mi paraíso. En mi paraíso. You guys still with me? Take my money, no lo necesito. Libres y solitos. En la playa todos mis amigos. En mi paraíso. 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 Muchas gracias.
Let's give it up one more time for Mano Gem, taking us to a paraíso. Our next awardees have courageously upheld our mission to expand the number of Latinos in newsrooms and improve coverage of Latino communities. These individuals demonstrate a commitment to the journalism profession, paving the way for other Latino journalists. They have practiced journalistic values with distinction while inspiring others to do the same. They have been pioneers, leaders, and mentors. Please welcome Julio Cortes of the Associated Press to present our first Hall of Fame recipient.
Thank you, Adriana. And thank you, NAHJ, for inviting me to present this honor in memory of my mentor, my hero, and just all around badass, chingon, Steve Gonzalez. Steve was the past president of the Associated Press managing photo editors, and recently he continued his passion in photojournalism by fulfilling roles needed in the photo department at the Houston Chronicle. And he did this while also battling cancer with optimism and his big, contagious smile. God, I love that smile. Unfortunately, Gonzo, as we all know him and loved him, passed away on June 25th after his long, valiant, and just great battle with cancer. Please turn to the screen and watch this tribute video for Gonzo. Steve's legacy lives on in the NAHJ Hall of Fame. Thank you, NAHJ, for recognizing him here tonight. It's his daughter, Erica, and his son, Angelo, to accept the award.
My name is Erica Gonzalez, and I was lucky enough to be the daughter of Steve Gonzalez. On behalf of the whole Gonzalez family, my brothers Angelo, Dominic, Diego, Miguel, and my stepmom Cindy, we would like to thank the NAHJ for giving us this honor to my dad. I know how much my dad would have loved to be here to accept this award himself. Unfortunately, God had another plan for him, and I know he's here tonight looking down on us. When he found out that he was a Hall of Famer, the sparkle in his eye and the smile on his face is nothing I'll ever forget. Besides being a father, a really great father at that, his joy in life was being a photojournalist. He had a gift and an eye that very few have. I think what I admired most about Gonzo, the photojournalist, was his work ethic. He was never afraid of a no. He would always tell me, "You have to fail in order to succeed," and his story is a testament to that. He started his career off by mopping floors at the Topeka Capital Journal. He always believed in himself and pushed his way to become a staff photographer and later managing editor of photography at the Kansas City Star before landing his dream job at the Houston Chronicle, where he worked for 17 years. My dad was also very passionate and dedicated to mentoring young Hispanic and Latino journalists. He had 5 children, but he always wanted to take in and mentor anyone he could. Any Thanksgiving or Christmas at our house, you would find many Houston Chronicle colleagues gathered around our table, as my dad never wanted anyone to be left alone on a holiday. 2 of his mentees are now Pulitzer Prize winners. So here's to you, Dad. You are officially a Hall of Famer.
Steve has obviously left an incredible impact on the journalism community, and we are so glad we get to recognize some of that impact tonight at the Hall of Fame Gala. Thank you so much to his family. I met Eric and Angelo just earlier today, and there's something about their spirit that really touched me, and I'm just so happy that they can be here to represent their family, represent their father, and be part of this family and embraced by this family. So another round of applause for them. Now please welcome McNelly Torres, NAHJ National General at-Large Officer, and Nora Lopez again back onto the stage.
Buenas noches, mi gente linda. ¡Vamos! Tengo que bajar esto porque soy chiquitita. It is my pleasure to be up here tonight with Nora to introduce our next Hall of Fame inductee. This next journalist has more than 35 years of journalism experience, from police reporter to publisher, and has covered major stories across Mexico and the United States of America.
Today, as Executive Director of Investigative Reporters and Editors, she oversees an organization of more than 5,000 members from around the world dedicated to providing training in the latest investigative and data analysis techniques and to improving the quality and diversity of journalism. She is also the first person of color to lead the IRE staff. Let's now watch for a short highlight video of Diana
Didi Fuentes.
Next up, Diana Fuentes.
I've been involved with NAHJ since the early 1990s, mid-1990s, and I did serve as treasurer from 1998 to 2002 when we had good times and we had a few difficult times. As a financial officer, one of the very important things you need to do is talk to people about money. It can be hard, it can be difficult, as the people that are there right now know it. What I bring to the table is experience. I've been the treasurer and financial officer, not just of NAHJ, but the Freedom of Information founding editors, the SAPJ, the Society of Professional Journalists San Antonio Association, the SAHJ, the San Antonio Association of Hispanic Journalists. I've been very active. You might be able to tell that I love numbers. I've always enjoyed that, and I think I'm pretty good at it, so I have that experience.
And now, please, join me in congratulating Didi on this achievement.
Thank you all. Thank you all so much. I want to cry. I'm honored. I can't tell you how much I'm honored to now be part of a group that includes some of the finest representatives of our industry. People like Rubén Salazar, who died reporting on a Vietnam protest in East LA in 1970. Jovita Idar, who stood down Texas Rangers down in Laredo, who tried to shut down her newspaper just because they didn't like an editorial criticizing President Wilson for sending troops to the Mexico border. That Texas-Mexico border, history repeats itself, you know. Professor Maggie Rivas Rodriguez, a founder of NAHJ and the creator of the Voces Project, which honors our elders, values their work, and provides invaluable cultural and historic resource for all of us. People like Gilbert Bailon and Frenchy Robles were my contemporaries who won the Pulitzer Prize for their work and the teams that they have led, which is what I like to do, which is lead good teams. I have young journalists who tell me that I'm a role model because I've done some firsts. I was the first woman who, the first woman to lead the Laredo Morning Times, the first woman to be editor of that paper after nearly a century, and they had never had a woman. I was the first woman of color to be the managing editor of the Beaumont Enterprise in East Texas, a predominantly black community. And as they mentioned, the first person of color to run IRE. And it's nice to be first. I'm very competitive. My friends know that. But I'll tell you what I really like to be known for is helping others be first. I find it, my greatest satisfaction comes from watching the success of reporters and editors that I was lucky enough to be able to work with early in their careers. Because being a journalist is the best job ever. It's just the best job. We get to, the voice for the voiceless. We get to tell those stories that people ignore. We get to shine a bright light on those sneaky officials that are trying to hide things. Transparency, the journalism of verification. That's what we do. That's very important. And all of us, we've talked about it and several people discussed it. Diego said it earlier. We are the guardians of democracy because democracy does die in darkness, people, and it's up to us to shine that light. Thank you for this incredible honor, you all. And I'm inspired and energized by a lot of you are out there right now that I appreciate your support so much. My sisters, my friends, all of you all, people that I've helped, I think, over the years. And I'm excited. I can't wait to see what we do next. Thank you all very much.
Congratulations to Diana on this honor. Dee Dee, as we all know her now. What an amazing and inspiring career. To run IRE is just incredible. I would like to invite Nora Lopez back on stage to introduce our next Hall of Fame inductee.
Les juro that next time I'm going to tell them just put me a chair up here because I'm like, every time I go up and down, I'm like, this is it, I'm going to fall. Our next Hall of Fame inductee is the first Latina and woman of color elected president of the Society of Professional Journalists. In the organization's 113-year history, she has been a journalist for 4 decades. 28 of those years were spent as a reporter at television stations across the country. Today, she is a freelance reporter who works on all news platforms. Along the way, she has been recognized with 50 awards and nominations for her journalism work. And she has also been a member of NAHJ since the mid-1980s and has served on the NAHJ board as vice president. Let's see some of the highlights from her career now.
As Latino journalists, when we go in there, we're not thinking, you know what, we need to take a stand because we are children of immigrants. Again, like all the other journalists in the world, everyone has a different style, everyone has a different approach, everyone has a different stand. And it's our job as journalists to ask those tough questions because we are the messengers for the public.
I don't care where you come from, break down your own barriers. I'm there to seek the truth. I'm not gonna let these barriers get in my way from telling a story. You never stop learning as a journalist. Always continue evolving, adding more tools, because the more tools you have, the better opportunities you have. I learned how to code. I can make a website from scratch. Learn something new. I learned how to use everything, Photoshop. I learned how to edit, continue to grow. And I knew right then, I don't want to work for anyone else after 28 years in TV news. I want to do my own thing.
Before we hit the pearly gates, I know that when God sees me, he's going to say, Rebecca did this, 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 and this. And well, he better let me in through the gates because if not, I'm going to push through. But I hope that all you guys today look at this and wonder and say to yourselves, have I made my mark? And if you haven't, make it before it's too late. Gracias.
Everyone, please join me in congratulating my dear friend, Rebecca Aguilar.
gosh, I'm already crying. It's okay, tears of joy. You know, I am both honored and humbled to be recognized with this NAHJ Hall of Fame Award. I want to thank my mentee and good friend, Daniela Ibarra, for nominating me for this great honor. Thank you, Diana Hernandez, Jim Acosta, Finn Gomez, Jim Avila, and the 2022 NABJ Hall of Famer, Cheryl Smith, for your beautiful recommendations. And I appreciate your friendships, too. You're right, I've been a reporter for 41 years. Thank you. But you know what? I really owe my success to NHJ. This organization has been the blood in my veins, la sangre en mis venas, since the mid-1980s when I joined. It has been there for the good, bad, and ugly in my career. NHJ helped me get 90% of my jobs in journalism because of conferences, networking, you name it. Some of you out there, you said, I have a job, and you gave it to me. NHJ taught me to be a good leader because I sat on the NHJ board for 6 years. And today, as Nora told you, I am the president of the Society of Professional Journalists with 6,000 members. Yes, the first Latina and woman of color in, get this, 113 years. I owe it to NHJ. Thank you. NHJ was the shoulder to lean on when I was fired from one job. On my phone, I have the first 30 calls when I was fired. 90% of them were NHJ members. Thank you. I want to give shout outs to people that have impacted my life. Eleanor Vega, Yvette Davila Richards, Joanna Hernandez, Sid Garcia, Bonnie Gonzalez, Israel Valderas, Marcela Toledo, Nora Lopez, Sal Morales, McNelly Torres, John Quiñones. By the way, let me tell you a quick story about John. 1986, I think, we meet in Tucson. I think we met at the bar. He was a big-time ABC network correspondent. I was some little reporter in Corpus Christi. But you know what the beauty of NHJ is? When we show up, we are equals. No one is better than the other. Just because you're at the network or make a gazillion dollars, it doesn't mean that we're lower. And that's, again, as Nora said, John is that down to earth, and he has been a mentor since then. I want to give a shout out to the Hispanic Communicators DFW in Dallas, one of the best NHJ chapters. And what about my Latinas in journalism for being in my life? If you haven't joined our group, please do. I also want to thank a friend, Sandra Garcia, who came from Fort Worth, a viewer back in Dallas who we met. You know, and this is the beauty, how we touch people. Sandra comes here, she has nothing to do with journalism, and she came to support me. Isn't that cool? It's beautiful. And you know what? Okay, I'm gonna get teary-eyed here. Most of all, I wanna thank my husband, John Boos, who decided more than 30 years ago to support my career over his. He followed me from city to city, never complaining. By the way, he's back in Dallas taking care of the 5 dots. And now our own son, Alex, he's back there probably taking some video, is in the news business. He's an executive producer for the CBS station in Detroit. And he's part of the NHJ family. He makes us proud. My parents, Alfredo and Rebecca Aguilar, former undocumented workers from Mexico, taught me that we can be anything in life with courage, compassion, and commitment. My friends, continue to have the courage to speak up for equal pay and for representation in this business. Silence is not an option. Continue to help other Latinx journalists to thrive and survive in this crazy-ass business. And lastly, continue being committed to tell our stories because we know there are many Latinos and Latinas out there who are doing great things. I send you much love. Have a great night.
congratulations to Rebecca again. Let me tell you a little story about Rebecca. In 2010, I first met her at NAHJ in Denver because there was this woman holding court and all of these budding journalists around her who were just hanging on every word. She was spreading the wisdom, spreading the knowledge, and this was like in the hallway. It wasn't even a panel. And that's what she continues to do. I've been following her for years, and it is just so special for me to be able to witness her receiving this award. So, to continue the evening, our next presenter is the CEO of the Online News Association, ONA, the world's largest membership organization of digital journalists. Where are my digital journalists? As a media diversity advocate, he has led programming and fundraising initiatives for journalists, media professionals, students worldwide. Please join me in welcoming Irving Washington.
Thank you, NHA, for having me here tonight. After 11 years of service at ONA, I've been grateful to see tremendous growth and invest in Black, Indigenous, and people of color-led community news. So I feel like I'm in good company tonight. It's my unique honor to introduce our next Hall of Fame inductee and friend. This person has made a name for himself as a journalist of the web, not just on the web. His primary focus is exploring and developing the intersection of technology and journalism. He is a professor of professional practice at the University of Southern California, Annenberg School of Communication and Journalism. But he's not an academic. He's more of a hack-ademic, if you know Robert, who specializes in MacGyvering digital journalism through emerging technologies. Now let's learn more about his career.
There are about 10,000 tweets a second. How will your voice stand out? I looked at the industry changing from the get-go, and that's what got me so excited about it. And I didn't see the industry dying at all. I saw it just evolving and changing. And for me at that time, it was an opportunity for me to help change it.
That's my specialty. I hijack emerging technologies from other fields and apply them to journalism. Think coding, mobile, drones, Snapchat, or Instagram stories. Hell, let's use Minecraft and Pokemon Go if we can inform our communities that way. Journalism needs to remain relevant in how it reaches and informs the diverse communities it aims to serve.
What we need to do is empower journalists with enough code so they can work with. Not just talk to, but work with. I don't want someone to talk to me so they can place an order. I want someone to work with me so we can make a better product together.
Because we believe, like America's founders believe, that a free press that we can trust is essential to a democratic society, accurately informing by any ethical means necessary. Thank you.
Welcome and congratulations, Robert Hernandez.
I'm the only person that didn't email the remarks, and I've been threatened if I go over 2 minutes, I'll be murdered. So many people to thank. NHJ is a family to me that you would not believe. I'm a product of this organization, joining and attending my first conference in the mid-90s and only missing one since. I'm a product of the NHJ staff, who I want to thank, Janet, Yunwen, Leslie Ann, NHJ BA, Grace, a round of applause to the people who put this show together for us. They are my friends, they're my colleagues, and I love the work that they do for our community. Our community is like a family, and we have our ups and downs, and I want to thank all the former board members, current board members that have shaped me, including our past executive directors, Ivan Roman, Alberto Mendoza, and welcome David Peña to the family for the highs and lows. Welcome to the roller coaster of NHJ. Speaking of family, when I was approached with the idea of possibly getting this award, I asked, is it possible I can receive this on behalf of my family? Because any award that we get is a sacrifice that we do, our family does as well. And I told my wife, you know what, maybe I'll decline this award if they don't make it the Hernandez family. And she said, what's wrong with you? This award is a sacrifice. Every award that you get and recognition you get is a sacrifice you do, but it's a sacrifice our family does alongside you. Many of you may know that I somehow found myself leading a membership campaign that reached 3,000 members, and a year later, 4,000 members. We're almost 45,000 strong. You may not know that I was on vacation at an Airbnb cabin when this momentum happened on Twitter, and I had to apologize to my wife as I went into a corner paying for all these members to join our organization, but people donated more and more and more money that it wouldn't let me go on a vacation. That's a sacrifice of my family, and so this award is dedicated to my family. My wife, Connie, who is also a lifetime member, also served and helped run the student projects, also participated in the student project. Her bright eyes give me energy every day. She's my best friend. She's my best editor. She would have edited the speech if I turned it in. Thank you for everything. I've made a lot of wonderful things, and the best thing I've ever created in my life is my son, Nico. He has been at every conference since he was 1 in Puerto Rico. Nico, I'm so jealous of the man that you have become. I'm so proud of you. Y'all. Also, here is my mom. My mom has been at NAHJ taking care of Nico so Connie and I can go party, Tejano party. My mom's birthday was yesterday. She has made so many sacrifices. She took us and moved us back to El Salvador. My parents were immigrants from El Salvador. She moved us back to El Salvador when it got too tough here with some family situations. And my mom has apologized to me multiple times, saying that she was sorry, that she couldn't do better. Mami, yo estoy aquí por tus sacrificios. Muchas gracias. Last but not least, I want you all to remember the importance of your job. The importance that we need to stand up, especially in these times. Remember that it is not a bias or a threat to our objectivity when we stand with human rights. Remember that women's rights are human rights. Remember that women's health care is women's rights, which is part of human rights, and that is not a bias. That is not a bias to ask for equal pay for equal work. It is not a bias to exist and love someone who may or may not be of the same gender with you. And journalists, you need to stand up and not do this wishy-washy, racially changed, both sidesism, because our democracy is being threatened right now. People are talked up and worked up and shooting our community up. And if this makes you uncomfortable, journalists, leaders in the newsroom, if this thought makes you uncomfortable, step aside, because there's a generation of journalists coming to take over and push us forward. I'm honored to be a teacher, a professor for them. Thank you for this honor. Have a good night.
Every time I come out here, I'm like, oh, just so moved by these awardees and their spirit and their mission. And have you noticed how many times people talk about their family? Familia is what everyone's talking about, what they keep repeating about their parents, about their kids, you know, and how central is that to us Latinos? Familia. We grow up in multi-generational households. Our parents have sacrificed so much. I mean, you've heard all of the inductees here talk about what their parents went through, what they did when they first came to this country, what they themselves started out doing. And to be on this stage, to have achieved what they've achieved is incredible. And that is what's possible in this country. That is what's possible with this organization. All right, I'm gonna stop. I just felt the spirit. Okay, so let's keep going. We are going to invite up here, one more time, Nora Lopez. because Nora's been, you know, she's getting her exercise in her steps, as we all have at this convention hall. So Nora, we're gonna have her come back here as her last time stepping up here as NAHJ president.
Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed today's evening. I'm going to try really hard to get through this and not cry. Because when we start talking about familia, I start thinking about my mom and my dad. So, bienvenidos. Welcome, NAHJ and NABJ community. It is my honor to be standing here today and look at this room filled with diverse and accomplished talent. De verdad, ha sido mi honor ser su presidente. As president of the National Association of Hispanic Journalists for the past 2 years, I've watched our community grow and achieve more than I could have imagined. I'm endlessly grateful for and proud of our journey. When I was elected in 2020, I vowed to advocate for the rights of journalists, to train and empower the next generation of journalists of color, increase transparency, and bolster equity in newsroom leadership. With the help of our members and dedicated NAHJ team and my colegas on the board, we've made major strides, and we have taken on major challenges. Freedom of the press is under attack now more than ever. At NAHJ, we know that an independent press is essential to our democracy and nation. Equity and inclusion are not just buzzwords, they are values to live by as our nation's communicators. Over the past 2 years, we've fought to protect the rights of journalists at home and abroad when those rights were threatened. When protests and uprisings swept the nation in the wake of George Floyd's death, we watched law enforcement and others trample our press freedoms. In 2021, NAHJ led a coalition of more than 20 organizations to successfully pass California Bill SB 98, which ensures that journalists covering protests are allowed to do so without fear of arrest or intentional interference from police. And when tragedy struck my home state of Texas this year, with the horrendous slaughter of school children in Uvalde, members of my newsroom at the San Antonio Express News personally experienced harassment from law enforcers who tried to stop us from doing our jobs. We spoke out, and we were supported by fellow media professionals and our NAHJ community who helped us hold authorities accountable. There is strength in our numbers, and I'm so excited, as Roberto noted, that NAHJ membership is now well over 4,000 members strong. Yet our goal is not only to grow membership, but to help develop them professionally. And I'm proud to say that in the last 2 years, we've trained more than 2,000 journalists, educators, and students, and distributed more than $200,000 in scholarships and grant funding through our Next Gen initiatives, an increase from years prior. And we've created opportunities for our freelancers through our digital publication, Palabra, which covers the kind of stories disregarded by traditional news outlets. We've embraced collaboration through partnerships with like-minded organizations, including NABJ, NAJA, and AAJA, which has increased our reach and impact. Another major goal of mine has been fighting for more equity in newsroom leadership. Without diverse leaders, diverse coverage is elusive. We have highlighted the work of Latino news leaders and worked to increase their visibility. In April, NAHJ and 50 other organizations called on the Pulitzer Prizes to push news organizations to publicly share staff demographics before becoming eligible for a prize. It is through initiatives and interventions like these that NAHJ seeks to hold newsrooms accountable and increase representation in leadership. We, as journalists, demand transparency from public officials and institutions, and it is imperative that we do the same. As NAHJ president, I promise to increase transparency within our organization and to improve our operations. And you can now find all of our minutes and 990s, everything you want to know about us, on our website. As part of our efforts to improve our operations, our board has developed a new 5-year strategic plan which reaffirms our commitments and introduces new pathways to achieving our mission and vision. And after a months-long search, we hired David Peña Jr. as our executive director. David's 20-plus years of experience in mentorship, program development, scholarship creation, and communications is already serving our community well. I am proud of my tenure as your president, but the end comes with just a little hint of sadness. The people I have met and worked with since 2020, as I said, my colegas on the NAHJ board in particular, inspire me and give me hope for the future of journalism. Before I leave, I have one final thought. The road to achieving equity and inclusion is one we must walk together. Just 2 years ago, it looked like equity was within reach, but the pendulum has swung back again. Still, there are things you can do every day in pursuit of equity, in the stories we tell, in the ideas that we advance, in the understanding we promote. We have the power to organize, present, and contextualize the world fairly, responsibly, and courageously. It's not easy, but as we return to our respective newsrooms, remember what it felt like to be together this week. How good did it feel to see so many Black and brown, beautiful faces, to hear our diverse stories and to listen to our ideas without having to give explanations or apologies. How proud were you to share our collective talent with each other? We can create that all across this nation's newsrooms. We must rise to advocates for that diverse hire or promotion, and we must speak up or find ways to make sure our communities are covered in a fair and truthful way. Take the courage and confidence of being in familia right here to bring familia to where you are. And be courageous. Gracias.
Thank you. Thank you. Mil gracias.
Thank you so much. I have one final task, and then it's the last time you're going to hear from me today. I get to announce the next incoming board. So, as I call out your names, please make your way up here so that we can get all of the new board up on stage. All right, our new student representative is Brenda Elizondo. Our Spanish language at-large representative is Jennifer A. Marcial Ocasio. Our new general at-large officer is Luis Joel Mendez Gonzalez. And please welcome our new academic at-large officer, Adriana Chavira. Re-elected as secretary, Blanca Rios. Our new financial officer is Marilyn Garatex. Felicidades, our new VP for Digital, McNelly Torres. Re-elected as our VP for Broadcast, Julio Cesar Chavez. VP Print, Felicidades, Arelis R. Hernandez. And last, but by no means least, your new president, Yvette Cabrera.
Most newsrooms that I worked in, I was either one of a handful of Latina and Latino journalists, or sometimes the only one. And I wanted newsrooms to change. A lot of times investigative journalism can be a very lonely road and a difficult one. And so one of the most important things I can be doing is advocating on behalf of young Latinas who are thinking about or considering going into a business that's really difficult to survive in.
When all the odds are stacked against you, that's when you fight the most.
Oftentimes you're the lone voice pitching a story about the Latino community. I want to make sure that newsrooms continue to feel that pressure from groups like NAHJ, that they not only say the right words, but they do the right thing, that they hire, that they support these journalists in their newsrooms once they do become part of their teams.
Where are you? Okay, I was told all of y'all were gonna come up on stage. ¿Dónde están? I need at least Yvette. Vamos.
Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I want to thank Nora Lopez. I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for her guidance, her mentorship, and her friendship. It's thanks to the leadership of Nora Lopez and the work of our current board that I can say we are on the brink of a new era, one in which our members know exactly where we're headed, thanks to our new 5-year strategic plan. Tonight, I'm thinking of what my father taught me about life and how you get things done. Every day at 3 in the morning, as a young man, he'd get up to cycle the mountains surrounding La Ciudad de Mexico to El Desierto de los Leones National Park, early enough so that he could make it to his 5 a.m. job at a panaderia. It's a road I traveled a few years ago, and it was only then that I realized what a massive feat it was that a kid who grew up in poverty would become a national cycling champion in Mexico through sheer will and persistence. He taught me that you need to drive not just to win a race, but to remain steadfast in the face of obstacles that get in your way. He comes from a country of fierce warriors, a people who are not humbled by the hard work that it takes to get the job done. Yo nací aquí en los Estados Unidos, pero me da mucho orgullo ser hija de inmigrantes mexicanos que llegaron aquí sin hablar inglés, pero se pusieron a trabajar y vivieron su vida luchando para alcanzar sus sueños y darles a sus hijas la oportunidad de estudiar. It's because of that hard work that we've all put in to build up NAHJ that I can say I'm ready. I'm ready to take on the battle ahead for our 4,000 plus NAHJ members, because now more than ever, we need to fight for newsroom parity. We need to fight to protect our journalists from police attacks on frontline protests, fight for pay equity, fight for more Latinas in newsroom leadership positions, and I promise to do exactly that, to do right by all of you so that one day we can reach that mountaintop like the warriors we are. Thank you.
Congratulations to everyone. One more round of applause, please. Thank you to all of our presenters, award recipients, the 2022 Hall of Fame class, and to all of you for supporting NAHJ and the mission of promoting more Latinos in news. It has been an honor, truly, to be your host for this evening and be part of the NAHJ history that's been made tonight on this stage. Now, I'm excited to give you a sneak peek at NAHJ 2023. You in Miami. Those are great graphics. I don't know who's making those graphics, but I really like them. All right, guys, so to close out our show, please welcome back NAHJ for one last song.
Thank you, thank you. Once again, thank you so much for having me tonight. Soy mitad mexicana, and I'm super proud of mis raíces, and so happy to be here. And this is actually the very first song that I ever wrote in español. This is Soy lo que soy, and disfrútenla, y buenas noches, y muchas gracias. Cuida mi corazón, yo no soy yo. Sigo caminando y moviéndome, pero yo no soy yo. Ahora mírame. Ahora mírame. Cada día yo entiendo, cada mañana en mis sueños, soy lo que soy, soy lo que soy. Cada día, cada noche, cada mañana, cada nota, soy lo que soy, soy lo que soy. Algo me está cambiando, solo yo lo siento. Deja lo malo, toma el oro, solo yo lo siento. Ahora mírame.
entiendo cada mañana en mis sueños. Soy lo que soy, soy lo que soy. Cada día, cada noche, cada mañana, cada nota. Soy lo que soy, soy lo que soy. Oh, I am what I am. I am what I am. Cada día yo entiendo, cada mañana en mis sueños. Soy lo que soy, oh, soy lo que soy. Cada día, cada noche, cada mañana, cada nota. Soy lo que soy, soy lo que soy. Oh, ahora mírame. Ahora mírame. Muchas gracias. Thank you to DJ Valida for being on the ones and twos with me, and thank you to the NAHJ. Buenas noches.
Thank you, Mana Jem. Gracias. La verdad es que somos lo que somos, right? Thank you.